Yeah. Lil Brunson back at you with the back at you, and I am the best reporting on the Eagles. So, Senior Bowl, I guess some guys caught up with some of the Eagles executives, and it's looking like we're going to heavily pursue some corners. What corners? You know what I mean? It's down. This is what we come to. So basically what they're saying is they're about to be cheap with this cornerback situation. If they don't draft a cornerback and think that they can solve some of the issues we have in the secondary by looking at a 30-year-old Chris Harris or a used and abused Byron Jones from the Dallas Cowboys, I don't get it. I don't get it. If you're not looking to put somebody in there who's a solidified, bona fide star, then why? There's no cornerbacks seriously worthwhile in the free agency, in the upcoming free agency. You got to get you a young guy and groom that guy. You don't have a defensive back coach. It would be completely asinine to think you're going to fix the problems that we have with Byron Jones. I know Byron Jones is young. I know he athletic. I know he a Dallas Cowboys dude, but Byron Jones ain't no lockdown corner. So to go get Byron Jones and potentially overpay for him in free agency, because that's what we're going to end up doing. Now, we got to wait to see how this thing shake out, to see how many free agents are going to be available at the time when it's time to start grabbing free agents, when free agency kicks off. Because as of right now, because you don't know who's going to get released, you don't know what's going to happen. As of right now, the best two cornerbacks are Byron Jones and Chris Harris, who's 30 years old. Now, Chris Harris don't fit anything for us because, A, correct me if I'm wrong, he's primarily a slot receiver, and B, Howie Roseman has vowed to go younger. So bringing in a 31-year-old cornerback ain't sticking to the vows. You know what I mean? It's just not sticking to the vows. Chris Harris' best days are probably behind him. Byron Jones, what you see is what you get with Byron Jones. Them dudes ain't no lockdown corners, man. You know what I mean? They're not no lockdown corners. They didn't make the playoffs last year. The secondary was getting roasted by Mitchell Trubisky, the Dallas Cowboys. Who else did they get roasted by? They got roasted by, we beat them. You know what I mean? Without wide receivers, wide receivers that anybody respected. Them dudes been getting roasted. That defense was highly overrated. There's nobody in the Dallas Cowboys secondary that I want on my team. In fact, I don't even want another ex-Dallas Cowboys player. They all come in and don't do anything. We need to get somebody young out the draft and groom them. Period. It's a lot of okay, so we're looking to hit free agency hard and target cornerbacks. We're looking to throw some money at some cornerbacks in free agency. Now, that means that our first pick will be a wide receiver. I'm not upset with your first pick being a wide receiver, but you gotta pick a cornerback because there's no available cornerbacks in free agency. Now, we went over the list of the available talent in free agency as far as cornerbacks and defensive backs are concerned. We're going to go over that list in a minute. But, I just don't understand why we would even come out and say something like that. Now, granted, if you draft a cornerback and you were able to grab Byron Jones in free agency, I'm all for that. Maybe this is a tactic to throw off everybody else to make them think that we're not looking at cornerbacks in the draft because the obvious need for the Philadelphia Eagles that everybody's pointing out is wide receiver. But this draft is chock full of wide receivers, deep. It's deep. So maybe it's some type of mind trick. You know what I'm saying? But every time the Philadelphia Eagles organization is linked to a specific name, it never pans out like that. So I'm not looking forward to seeing no Chris Harris or Byron Jones on the roster. We always throwing out smoke and mirrors around this time of the season and going with other players. So I just really don't believe it, man. I really don't believe it. Also, I heard that we were targeting Josh McCown for offensive coordinator. But it's looking like Josh McCown is leaning more towards wanting to come back as a player in the NFL in some capacity. Probably come back with us. But at the end of the day, I think Josh McCown is one of them brilliant football minds. You guys already know my thoughts on just coaches and availability and who we should get and what should happen. And why we may not seem so attractive for some guys who are looking for an offensive coordinator job because of the power that Doug Peterson has with the play calling. You got to start looking outside the box. And I think Josh McCown was a great outside the box move. He's never done it before, but he knows the game. Him and guys like Dan Orlovsky know the game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Philadelphia Eagles start upgrading some of these positions of need with in-house guys. Like Deuce Staley probably get a shot somewhere. You know what I mean? But for everybody that's on the be patient train is going to happen. We got four coaching vacancies available. Wide receiver coach, defensive back coach, offensive coordinator, and quarterback coach. That's a lot of open vacancies. This ain't the time to be patient. You know what I'm saying? GMs can't take vacations when they got this much on their plate going into a new season with a franchise quarterback. No, you can't be patient. You got to start filling some of these holes. I mean, how hard is it, honestly, to find a quarterback coach? How hard is it to find a quarterback coach or a defensive back coach? I don't think those two things are hard to do. You know what I mean? Defensive line coach, how hard is it to find that? Now, offensive coordinator, that could be challenging. But some of these quote unquote entry level coaching positions should be really easy to fill. What are we waiting for? You know what I mean? What are we waiting for? But let's look at the available free agents that's still on the market right now. And I want to know honestly what y'all think about the available talent. So I had to do my due diligence and just look at the upcoming cornerbacks. I think I did this in a prior video. And Byron Jones, I mean, a lot of people think we should get Byron Jones. For what? For what? 2 interceptions in 5 years. None in the last 2 years. There's only one guy that really just jumps off this list to me, man. You know, and it's not Byron Jones. Chris Harris is old. Kevin James, fairly still got some youth. 1 interception, 21 years old. I like Jason Verrett. He was hurt last week. I mean, but he don't really know nothing about playing alongside Richard Sherman in that good defense. He's on IR. There's not a lot of people that jump off this list. So for us to be targeting these guys, I feel like it's the easy way out. Of course, we would target these guys. If we don't get this upcoming guy right here, then it's a fail. James Bradbury, man. I love the guy, man. You know, I'm not going to say I love the guy. I like the guy and I like what he's been doing. You know what I mean? In week 6, he was the best defensive player in the NFL. 10 tackles and 2 interceptions. Listen, this guy plays for the Carolina Panthers. He got to go up against Michael Thomas. He got to go up against Julio. He got to go up against that passing attack over there with Mike Evans and those boys in Tampa. You know, and he had the 2 interception game against Tampa. I don't say a lot, but you know, can he overcome Jim Schwartz, who I believe is just so problematic and just you know the root cause for some of the things that really go on with these guys, man. This is a Jim Schwartz based defense for the most part. The safeties are creeping down to do something other than guard the top and guard the backside of the end zone, and it has your wide receivers out there on one-on-one coverage, susceptible to slants and go routes. It's just burnt toast all over the place. I mean, yeah, Jim Schwartz has these ways about him, but can James Bradbury, or anybody for that matter, overcome what Jim Schwartz will do to a defense? I think Jim Schwartz has gotten some of these coaches fired with this style of play. I think Jim Schwartz has got some of these cornerbacks' reputations tarnished with this style of play. Jim Schwartz is not really concerned with playing guys to their strengths and helping guys out. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter who we get. If this philosophy is in place, I just don't think that we'll be successful at the position. Yeah, so I just had a nice little gym session. So, you know, people want to talk. People want me to, you know, talk about what I think about the Donovan McNabb and T.O. little back and forth situation that they got going on right now. I don't think much of it. You know, I just feel like this stuff, this right here is a distraction. It's taking the shine away from Andy Reid. You know, Andy Reid is in the Super Bowl. It's taking the shine away from, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles and things we trying to accomplish in the upcoming season. Listen, man, Donovan McNabb is 43 years old, I think. T.O. is older than McNabb, so T.O. got to be like 46. They on the internet beefing over something that happened 16, 17, 15 years ago. On the internet beefing. The event that they upset about, the time period and the stuff that they beefing about, I don't even think Twitter was around. They beefing about a time in history that you know what I'm saying? The way they handled the situation back then is how they should keep handling it now. Now, because these platforms out and people doing weirdo things and they run into the internet, y'all are above that age bracket, man. Y'all should have handled it a different way back then. Everything ain't for the internet, man. And this lets you know how the internet is dangerous. They could have never talked to each other for the rest of their life. I'm cool with that. Now they got a back and forth. Now they got some dialogue. Now they got a feud. We don't need that. You know what I'm saying? We don't need that. Hopefully Donovan McNabb gets into the Hall of Fame. T.O.'s already in the Hall of Fame as a Philadelphia Eagle. I mean, at the end of the day, man, they had a chance to make history. And looking at the highlights, you know, I saw on Twitter today the highlights of the Super Bowl. I think E-Rock posted it. It was just like, you know, it brings back memories. It brings back memories. You know what I mean? And you know, I witnessed that Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Me and my uncle, man, it brings back memories. You know what I mean? Memories. That day changed me, man, when we lost that Super Bowl to the New England Patriots. Because as a kid, not really understanding football, the general consensus after that game was McNabb folded. That was the general consensus. And then when you see the then you see him throwing picks and clutch situations. He threw picks in the Super Bowl. You can't win Super Bowls like that. You know what I mean? But it ain't all on McNabb. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, man, it is what it is, man. You know, and then now they got Brian Westbrook saying that, you know, he wish he was more mature. That way he could have been able to bring them closer together because they needed him. They needed each other for the team's success. Like, it's not really your situation to fix two grown men who want to do this over Twitter over something that happened 15 years ago, man. Dude's 40 plus. You know what I mean? Let's let them look foolish. It is what it is.